What is poppin' YouTube? Think about if you would have stashed Puka Nacua, if you would have stashed Trey McBride, if you would have stashed Mitchell, what that would have looked like for you when you wouldn't have had to go fight on the waiver wire this season. So today we're going to bring you some mustache players that you need to be targeting. Before we get into our first player, Trey McBride, Keaton Mitchell, Josh Downs, Rashee Rice, Jahan Dotson, JSN, Tank Dell, all those guys should be rostered, so they will not be talked about in this video. My first player that you should be stashing is going to be Michael Wilson Jr. from the Arizona Cardinals. And yes, we've talked about Michael Wilson pretty much every stash video. Every video, probably since week 4, it's like stash Michael Wilson, stash Michael Wilson, stash Michael Wilson. But now it is even better because Michael Wilson, only owned in 7%, 19% of sleeper and ESPN leagues, has Kyler Murray coming back this week. And if we look at the last 2 weeks, in week 8 had 9 fantasy points, in week 7 had 5, week 6 9, week 4 26, and week 3 10. I think he can get back to those week 3 and 4 numbers where he's consistently putting up 10 to 15 fantasy points. Michael Wilson's a very talented rookie wide receiver. If we remember him from Stanford, just a really great route runner. A lot of people just weren't really enthused by the athleticism. That's why he fell in the draft. But being able to have Michael Wilson on your bench, especially with us not knowing how good Kyler Murray is going to look, I think that is your first mustache. My second mustache is going to be Pat Freiermuth from the Steelers. We know how this tight end landscape is. We literally just put out our rest of season rankings videos yesterday. And pretty much after the top 7 guys, we were like, this is a crapshoot. He hasn't played since week 4, but Pat Freiermuth coming back. I'm not saying he has any type of elite level traits as a tight end that's going to make us excited to have him, but I think getting a quality tight end where we were drafting Pat Freiermuth in the 7th, 8th round of drafts this season, being able to get that off the waivers is something that I am very, very interested in. My third guy that you must be stashing is going to be Leonard Fournette. Playoff Lenny is here, and we've had to wait all season. Of course, signs with the Buffalo Bills, and a lot of people are saying, well, James Cook is still going to hold the touches. My thing is, let us be risk averse and go pick up playoff Lenny, because we do know he has touchdown upside in this offense. We saw how good he was in the Tampa Bay offense last season. Just imagine him in this Buffalo Bills offense. And I love Tom Brady. I know he was old, but imagine him with Josh Allen with these weapons. I think that's exciting. Now, James Cook is still going to be the 1A, but I think Leonard Fournette, especially over these next few weeks, can really start to make a push as he gets into shape, as he gets healthy. Like Leonard Fournette as a stash candidate. Our next stash candidate is going to be DeMario Pop Douglas. Yes, we are continuing to push Pop Douglas up the board. 22% rostered in ESPN, 45% rostered in sleeper. And if we look at DeMario Douglas's overall snap percentages, his graph is pretty much just going up and up and up. After Kendrick Bourne got injured, DeMario Douglas has slid in as the wide receiver 2 in this Patriots offense. And I think by the time we get to the end of the season, we could be talking about DeMario Douglas as the wide receiver 1 for the Patriots. We do like some DeMario Douglas. He's been having some decent fantasy football days. I know he's probably in flex consideration for you if you have him this week. And if he's somehow still out there available on waivers, go get some DeMario Douglas. Our next guy you should be stashing is going to be Tai Chandler for the Minnesota Vikings. With Cam Akers tearing his other Achilles, which is super depressing for Cam Akers' career, we do have to look and see the volume that Alexander Mattison had this last week was absolutely insane. So getting Tai Chandler, who was a sneaky pickup draft late in drafts earlier in the offseason, before of course they traded for Cam Akers, he's 1% rostered in ESPN, 5% rostered in sleeper. So this is a deep sleeper. But if you know Tai Chandler, based on everything that he did in college, a lot of people are excited about Tai Chandler. 42 yards, 5 receptions. He's the RB 80 on the season. There's nothing great about it. This Minnesota Vikings offense is still in playoff contention. So if anything were to happen to Alexander Mattison, and or over these next 2 weeks, we've seen the fumble issues with Alexander Mattison, we could see some more run for Tai Chandler. So definitely go pick up Tai Chandler as a mustache. Other mustache player is going to be Cedric Tillman. We had him in a stash video 2 weeks ago where we talked about how he just continues to get on the field more and more. This last week, 54 snaps compared to Elijah Moore with 45. So Cedric Tillman has kind of overtaken Elijah Moore as the wide receiver 2 in this Cleveland Browns offense with 25 routes run, but he only did have 1 target. So as we see more and more snap share for Cedric Tillman, as we see Deshaun Watson get back to being a little bit more healthy, as we see this offense become a little bit more efficient, which the defense is absolutely carrying the Cleveland Browns right now. But I think Cedric Tillman, he's literally like under 5% owned in all leagues. So if you have space and none of these other guys that I just mentioned ahead are available, go see if Cedric Tillman's available. My next mustache is going to be Cade Otton. I think we told you about Michael Mayer a few weeks ago. We told you about Dalton Kincaid. Hopefully you pick those guys up because they're looking like really solid tight ends for you on a week-to-week basis. But Cade Otton, I think he's the next guy. 8% rostered in ESPN, 5% rostered in sleeper. We like some Cade Otton, especially in Dynasty, but in redraft, you do have to be considering Cade Otton in your tight end spot because after Evan Ingram, after George Kittle, after the big mega 4 tight ends, it's just who do you feel comfortable sliding out there on a week-to-week basis? That's why we're hoping Pat Freiermuth can become that one of those guys, and that's also why we're hoping that Cade Otton can potentially take a step up and have that upside. And our final, mustache is going to be Kyler Murray. If you haven't picked up Kyler Murray, he's somehow still out there. He's coming back this week, so go grab Kyler Kyler Murray when he's been a top 10, top 5, top 6 quarterback each and every season that he's played. And so I understand if you're worried about him not being able to scramble as well, not being able to run as well. Those are all really, really good concerns. But especially in this quarterback landscape, I would like Kyler Murray because I think we could be talking about him as a league winning quarterback for you, especially if you missed out on one of those top 3 guys. And I'll give you one more stash player as just a bonus for tuning into this video to this time. Jaylen Tolbert is another guy. He's been completely more efficient than Michael Gallup, and I think we're going to continue to see Jaylen Tolbert's snap share go up and up and up, especially as this Dallas Cowboys offense. They need a clear wide receiver to CeeDee Lamb. We thought that could be Brandon Cooks. We thought that could be Michael Gallup. Jaylen Tolbert was the rookie from last season who didn't perform, and in his second year, we're all like, is this going to happen for Jaylen Tolbert? Jaylen Tolbert's someone that I would definitely be considering. Under 5% owned across all league formats, whether it's ESPN or Sleeper. So go target some Jaylen Tolbert. See if, as we go on, we want these high upside wide receivers that are in great offenses, and Jaylen Tolbert checks both of those boxes with the snap share going up right at the part of the season where we need that snap share to go up. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.